Good morning, this is Jason Dupree with OCR Tech Talk. I am just leaving the hotel in Ogden, Utah, which is where I came and where I stayed for the Spartan Utah race this weekend. This is the last race in the U.S. National Series, and it will be I'd say it's going to be pretty short and sweet, but we'll see. Technical-wise, there's not a ton to say, but there's some other things I'm going to get into. Welcome. It's a beautiful morning out here. Salt Lake City. I keep wanting to say St. Louis. Salt Lake City is beautiful. The mountain range that you see when you're here, that's always in the distance. It's almost like being in, I'd say more like Boulder as opposed to Denver. Because Denver, the mountains are still a little ways away. But here, you're like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes from the mountains. And it's just such a beautiful area. The mountains are, while they can look deserty, I'd say they are actually pretty green. And of course, like, you see the course, if you've seen the course at all for Salt Lake City, it is pretty green. Very beautiful course. Snow Basin, I think. Never been out here for any kind of snowboarding or anything, but I could definitely see it being a pretty good spot. Don't know what prices are like or any of that stuff, or crowds. That's a big one too. But it'd be cool to check it out one day. The race itself, being the last race in the series, we had Adam Beach, who was in first place. Casey Monroe, who was, I believe, in second behind Cassandra, but Cassandra's not there. Tomas, I'm not sure, I forget Tomas's last name, but I think he is in fourth. I actually got to speak to him at the finish line, and that was the first time I've talked to him, so that was good. And Mike Strobel, who was definitely in there in the upper top 10 as well. And of course, Matteo, from Italy, who I think is the second. Mm-hmm. Women-wise, of course, Claudia Bongiovanni from Italy as well. I think Tomas's might be Italian also, but he lives in New York. He's got a pretty thick accent, and he sounds like we're talking to him about the other two flying over a lot for all these races. I don't know, he just seemed to talk about it more than I would think a normal person that's not from Italy. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. It's early. And so, outside of the people that were in the series, we also had, on the men's side, Ethan Brown and Grayson Kilgore. Last year, I remember it was kind of funny because Grayson ran the age group, and it was just kind of comical because it's like, dude, you should definitely be running pro, because he destroyed the age group. I mean, he definitely won that. But I think there was something, it might have been some reason why he couldn't get in. That's actually, I saw Katie Duke come chat with her before the race, and that's what she says last year. He couldn't get in to pro for a reason. And I don't really recall if there was a was it last year that you had to actually run a regular race? That might be it. You had to run a regular race to qualify to run pro. I can't remember if that was last year or the year before. But if that was the case, then he may not have run another Spartan anywhere else before that, because he'd been doing mostly DECA stuff. So that would make sense. Anyways, so the race itself, it's a sprint. Basically, the beast goes up and does a loop and comes back and does another loop and does all these different loops. But they all come together where the sprint course is. So the sprint course kind of almost just goes out and comes back. And then all the courses have this loop down in the festival area with a whole bunch of obstacles down there. Out the gate, Mateo had a good climb. He was up in front. And Grayson passed Mateo during the sandbag carry. They were on the sandbag carry, and I don't know if Mateo was starting to fade or he was just having a hard time, but Grayson made a hard push. That sandbag carry was pretty brutal. Bucket carry was pretty brutal too. I'm honestly not sure which one was worse. Sandbag carry, you went down this hill, came back up, and then you had to go another little out and back. It wasn't pardon my voice. It wasn't steep. The first out and back was steep. And the second one just had a little tiny bit of like a little hill, but not much. So Grayson passed him there and held the lead all the way up to the rolling mud. And apparently he jumped in it and maybe it hurt his ankle or something. I heard him complaining about it after the spear throw. And it was shallow. It was definitely shallow. It was like 2 foot, maybe, up to your knees, maybe. And so coming out of that, I think he was still in first going into the spear throw, but he missed the spear. Mateo was right behind him. He missed his spear as well. And then Ethan Brown came through and got the spear. And that pretty much secured first place for him. And then Adam Beach was in fourth. He was pretty much in fourth the whole way. So that he didn't climb very well. Said he carried well, but just climbing is just not in his forte. So he came through, hit his spear as well. But by the time he got there and hit his spear, Grayson had already gotten out the burpee pit. And then, but Grayson was kind of limping along. So Adam was right behind him. That's right. Adam was right behind him. Adam passed Mateo. Mateo up that last hill looked like he was struggling after those burpees. Understandably so. And he got right on Grayson's tail. So it was pretty exciting right there at the end because Grayson and Adam were right on the slip wall at the same time. Grayson was on the right side. Adam was on the left side. And the finish line, he had to turn and go right. So I think it's possible if Adam had gone on the right side, maybe he would have stood a chance because they both came off pretty much at the same time, but there was, the gap of the slant wall between them. So as they moved in, Adam just really didn't have any room to make up. So that was it was an exciting finish. That was for a second. And then Mateo came in fourth. Women-wise, Casey Monroe had a pretty big lead. She came through, missed her spear. Claudia came through, missed her spear. So they're both in the burpee pit at the same time. Casey came out way ahead of her. And then Claudia came out as well. And then third place came through. And I think she missed her spear. But then fourth place came through and hit her spear. So fourth place ended up passing third. And I gotta look up these women's names. Pass up third on that last incline, that last little hill. So that got pretty exciting there at the end too, because it was like whoever makes the spear, which is I know one reason why PP despise the spear, but whoever makes the spear, is gonna be able to take it. But yeah, she passed her on that last hill because obviously after doing those burpees, you're destroyed, and after doing that, well, it being a sprint, you're not destroyed, but it's still a hard course. So yeah, I need to look up the two women's third and fourth place names. But that was an exciting finish, nonetheless. For a moment, I thought maybe Claudia would get caught, but she finished her burpees up. So good racing all the way around. But afterwards, I'll talk about the technical side of things first before I talk about my own race. Technical side of things, I feel like I've gotten a pretty good process down to make things quick and easy. I carried with me 4 gimbals in my laptop and 2 cameras. I brought 2 cameras because I knew we only had 3 rabbits, so I put 1 camera at the start and 1 at the finish. That way we didn't have to have somebody down there and have them come up the mountain and go back down and all that stuff. Now, by the time we got to the finish, we were there for the finish. It's not a big deal. But the start line camera, I think that one's going to be very important. Because we wouldn't have had to start otherwise. I would have had to be at start and then run up the hill. Which, I waited at the first obstacle, the wall, and then, pretty much right away, the guys start to leave me because I just can't keep up with them. And yeah, so I got the gimbals, and so after the race, transferred the videos, and I made sure to do a copy, not a move, just in case, so I didn't lose any videos. Remember that lesson learned from last time? And that's it. I mean, like I got the videos. I still need to put the videos. I need to load them to Google Drive, and I need to take the videos off of the static cameras. Put those on Google Drive as well. I'll get started on that process this morning before the flight takes off, and I'll finish it up, tonight, and then shows tomorrow night. Everything should be ready to go. So yeah, it's pretty quick and easy as far as recording goes, especially with it being a sprint. It does make a huge difference because when it's a beast, you really need at least six rabbits, and then you got to worry about making sure everybody's got battery power, extra battery, and because it just, especially that course, just takes the pros 3 hours. So we'll have to deal with that again in the Pan American Championships in Seattle because that's going to be a beast. So not as far as the racing goes, I don't like the sprint or the series being all sprints. But as far as coverage goes, it does make it a heck of a lot easier. That's for sure. My race, I was not feeling great. Something going on with my stomach. Was not feeling great before or even during the race, the elite race, chasing the pros around. So then when I went out and it was starting to get hot already, and that's the thing about this course is the time of year, it's always so freaking hot. And it gets upwards in the upper 70s, maybe low 80s. But even in the morning, it was 65, and the sun was baking already. Now, thankfully, getting out on the course is not as bad as I thought it was going to be up on the mountain. Up on the mountain, you got some shade here and there. You got some breeze here and there. But then at the end, you get back in the village area and you got to do that last loop, and it's all just freaking hot right there. I think nutrition-wise, I went very prepared. I had gels with me and lots of sodium. I was taking sodium pretty much every half hour. Now, there was one point where there was not a water station. The big climb, there really could have used a water station before that big climb. That would have been nice. So I had to wait till the top of the big climb, and that big climb probably took half an hour by itself. So I was basically a half hour behind on my nutrition. I did take more in the next aid stations that were closer together to try and make up for it. But I just struggled the whole way. Like I said, there was something going on with my stomach, and I ended up, when I was running downhills, I just felt like this weird pressure in different sections of my stomach. I was hurt. So, not only was I fighting the heat, my gut was having a problem. And it kind of made me feel like, because of that, my gut was just having trouble processing everything. So maybe I just wasn't getting as much nutrition as I should have been in the first place. So basically, by the time I got through all the climbs and got to the top and started going back down, I was running to downhills, but I had to take a break if it was a long downhill for my stomach to kind of let it settle for a second. And so yeah, I still ran pretty much all the downhills and most of the flats. There was some flats that was just like, screw it, I'm just walking. Because my heart rate was starting to get a little high, so I was concerned because I took it a lot easier. I just felt like I had no push in me. I had no fight. And so I basically just took it easy the entire course. And for perspective, Big Bear, which has more elevation, steeper, crazier climbs, took me I finished just under 4 hours. And this course I finished in 4:43-ish, somewhere in there. Now I know I started walking a lot towards the end, especially that last section. I did run through some of those trails, but by the time I got to the last set of, pretty much after I did the bucket carry, I pretty much walked from there on. I don't think I ran any after that. I was just too done by that point. And I was also concerned. I was concerned that I was getting too deep into the dehydration hole. So I didn't want to push it any further. And the craziest thing about that is, I ran 46 miles at World's Toughest. And leg-wise felt pretty fine. Even by the end of it, I felt okay. But at the end of this, everything just hurt so much more, even though I'd only done, technically 17 miles because I ran with the elites too. But everything just hurt so much more because of nutrition, because of dehydration. Like, and your body is not in the proper place, everything else is going to suffer. So even just like the feet and the legs, just everything was more tired, it hurt more. So I just got out of there after that, left, and I got some water. I drank like a whole bottle of water and had a popsicle or something. But I wasn't feeling like I needed food. I don't know, my stomach was just feeling weird. So I went back to the hotel and didn't get any food other than that popsicle and tried to take a nap. And honestly, my body was just hurting enough that I felt like I was just like on and off sleeping. So I just kind of laid there for a while. And after that, I finally got myself to get up and take some ibuprofen, which I know a lot of people say don't take ibuprofen when you're racing. I wasn't racing. This is after. I don't. Rarely, if I ever take it while I'm racing, it's a couple. But if you're gonna take stuff while you're racing, take Tylenol or maybe Advil. I think Advil's okay. So yeah, I got took some medicine. Obviously, felt a little better after that, and then I went saw Superman. Saw Superman. I had this place here in Ogden called the Megaplex, the Junction. It's this area called the Junction, and they call it the Megaplex at the Junction. So I went and saw it in the Megaplex. It was a big theater, lots of seats. One of the bigger theaters I've seen in a while. Pretty cool. Superman was all right. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I wouldn't, like, I heard somebody say 10 out of 10. I feel like I've had another friend say that it was one of the best superhero movies they've seen. I don't have any desire to go see it again. I'm glad I saw it, but yeah, that's all it was for me. But anyways, that's it. Next, I think, is the Canadian series. Canadian series starts up, and there's like in August. I think it's early August. And then we got basically 2 races 2 weeks apart. And then there's another one in October, I think. Or September. I forget. Anyways. Canadian series coming up. That should be enjoyable. Get to see a lot of names that we didn't get to see in the U.S. series. Probably, like, I'm sure we'll see Brendan Neely again. And Susan Sinitsky. Probably get to see her. So it's going to be good. Anyways, feel better now. Ready to work on the footage. And just glad that I'm not... Oh, that's the thing I wanted to say about it is I'm pretty fit. And I felt like that on that mountain, on that course. I passed so many people that were just like sitting and resting because they felt like they were dying or they were cramping up. I didn't get any cramps. I had like one little tiny small one at one point. But just thinking about the people that came out there with nothing. You know, I heard people saying next time we need to bring some more fuel or something like that. It's like, yeah, man, you're going to be out there for, I finished in over 4.5 hours. I saw somebody from Discord, no offense to them, but they were out there for like over 6.5 hours. A lot of those people are out there for a long time, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying they suck fitness-wise. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they were out there for so long, and they didn't have so much. They didn't have enough fuel. To think about how much I struggled, and what they and just trying to understand what they were rolling through. Freaking, oh my God! I don't think I would want to race if that was the case. I don't know, man. But at the same time, I say that, and I remember the race that really hooked me was Tahoe, when it hailed on us on the top of the mountain, and they closed all the obstacles, and then we were freezing, and they were telling us to get off the mountain, and the next day I just wanted to go do it again. Like, I had a frick fun out. Yeah. So hopefully those people had a good time and they didn't suffer too much. But I know I suffered more than and maybe that's part of it, just the mentality of like where you've been versus where you are. I know I should be able to get through that course. If it was cooler, I feel like I should be able to do that course in less time than Big Bear. Because it really is, besides that one big climb, there really aren't any long, sustained climbs like Big Bear has. All the climbs are a lot more mellow. So yeah, I feel like I should be able to do that course in less time. But it's just he gets me. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just that I'm just so used to what it should take. That's what concerns me about the 100-miler that's coming up in September. Is I just want to make sure that I'm prepared, that if I get into one of those states, that there's so much time for this race to take place. I want to make sure that I am prepared to just be like, all right, I'm walking, it sucks, I gotta just get my nutrition in as best I can and give myself time to recover while I'm moving forward, so that just the whole thing don't suck. Because I feel like I should be able to have a pretty good run and run through a long ways feeling pretty good. Like, obviously the goal is to finish feeling good, but that's, you don't expect that. It's going to be definitely hard. As far as World Stubbs goes, I know that I felt really good through, like, mile 40. I mean, I was feeling pretty good up to that point. And I didn't feel terrible, but running was harder, but that was because I didn't take in enough fuel. So that's the thing, is just make sure I keep fueling and just hope, you hope that you don't have any gut issues and any of that stuff, but you never know. You never know. So just try and be prepared for if it does happen, what do I do? To not have to stop. Anyways, I'll stop it there. See you next time. It'll be a while before I do another one of these since I'm not traveling again for a while. So like and subscribe and share with all your homies. And thanks for listening. See you next time.